The story begins in Latvia, where George was born just before the onset of World War II. Fleeing the country with his family, he lived in Australia and Canada before landing in Indianapolis. Already fascinated by airplanes as a young man, it was a $7 air tour of Indianapolis that led to a personal vow to fly airplanes and to make a living doing it. But the flying wouldn't come easy. George worked 2 full-time jobs to pay for flying lessons. The commitment and hard work, though, let him earn enough to buy a Piper Tri-Pacer in which he could steadily build flight time towards commercial flying. After earning his commercial, multi-engine, and instructor certificates, George labored as a flight instructor in Ohio and Indianapolis to gain flight experience. Fortune and hard work were on his side. After a short time, he landed a job as a co-pilot for the new Voyager 1000 Air Travel Club. He loved flying the bigger planes and found inspiration in taking passengers to all sorts of destinations. He blossomed in his pilot job, eventually receiving his captain's wings and promotion to the left seat, and later a promotion to chief pilot. George paid attention and saw flying the public as his future. In 1973, he gambled, mortgaging his home to launch Ambassadeur, a travel club to serve Indianapolis. He wanted the club to offer top-quality airline service to Hoosiers seeking fun, exciting, and exotic vacation destinations from Indianapolis. The new travel club started with one Boeing 720, christened Miss Indy. And to no one's surprise, George did not run the new airline travel club from a cushy corner office while others did the work. Instead, Captain Mikelsons piloted Miss Indy. He hired the pilots. He cleaned the cabin. And if that wasn't enough, he drove the passengers to Planeside in a converted school bus, and then loaded their luggage. The hard work and gamble paid off. Ambassadeur grew to become an Indianapolis household name, adding members, planes, and employees in short order. The club expanded the horizons of many Hoosiers by offering trips to more and more exotic destinations direct from Indianapolis, destinations that included Australia, Hawaii, the Bahamas, London, and Kenya, to name but a few. But the travel club airline was just not enough for George. He recognized opportunity on the horizon with airline deregulation in 1978. So in 1981, the man from Latvia launched his own commercial airline, American Transair, with a fleet of 8 Boeing 707s. Within 5 years, ATA, as it came to be known, would become the largest charter airline in the United States, with a fleet of Boeing 727s, Douglas DC-10s, Lockheed L-1011s, and Boeing 737 and 757s, serving domestic and international destinations in both scheduled and charter operations. Known to many employees and customers as the can-do airline, ATA was also noticed by the Department of Defense, which contracted the airline to fly troop movements for the U.S. military around the world. ATA soon became a major supplier of military personnel movement flights for the Department of Defense. And when the nation needed to move thousands of soldiers to the Middle East as part of the Gulf War, ATA answered the call, committing a large part of its fleet. The company would eventually fly hundreds of missions in support of our country's military operations. In fact, ATA flew more flights to the Middle East during the Gulf War than any other airline. George piloted some of the military flights himself, proudly waving the American flag out the cockpit window after landing. Although ATA no longer graces the skies with its colorful planes and white contrails, the dedication of the employees, an astounding safety record, competitive pricing, and the devotion of thousands of loyal passengers and employees could not spare the airline from the harsh economic realities of airline competition and the vagaries of the industry battering effects of the September 11th attacks. Sadly, American Transair was left with no choice but to cease operations in April 2008. The impact of a great airline and its founder are firmly entrenched in Indiana aviation history. George Mikelson's inspiring life story exemplifies the American dream. His legacy of creating an airline family that impacted the lives of so many of his employees, military personnel, and travelers everywhere make him the perfect role model for bold entrepreneurship and an inspiration to thousands which will endure for decades to come.